African Americans for Trump. Call it whatever the hell you want, right? What do you prefer? Blacks for Trump or African Americans for Trump? I think so. Right.
President unveiling a new campaign to some degree, less than a year from the 2020 election. He's making his pitch to African American voters specifically.
Yesterday, the president campaigned right here in Atlanta. He was launching Black Voices for Trump. That's a coalition dedicated to recruiting African Americans to support the president. Just 8% of black voters cast their ballot for Trump in 2016, but the Trump campaign hopes to improve those numbers next November.
Joining us now, Richard Rose, president of the Atlanta chapter of the NAACP, and Bruce LaValle, he's executive director of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump and a Republican National Committee media surrogate. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You were at the event last night,
Yep.
Bruce. What did you see?
It was awesome. It was just exciting. First of all, I was glad to come down to hot Atlanta, the president of all the places, and he plans to do many more stops around the country. And it was jam-packed. We wish we had a bigger venue. We had a lot of folks that couldn't get in, and there was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of excitement about just the fact that the president is going aggressively and asking, hey, I want this. I want this vote. I want to, as he was saying, he was promoting the opportunity zones. He was a leader and game changer in the Step One Act, which was a nonpartisan with the way he approached it. And it took a lot.
And that did start in the Obama administration, but he continued it.
And we closed the deal.
And you closed the deal. Yes, yes. Just, yeah, I mean, just for clarity.
Collaborative effort. And it's just the fact that the lowest black unemployment since 1972, and we plan to get it much lower. And interesting on that note, I remember being in Trump Tower in 2015, and we were with a lot of African-American pastors, about 100 of them on the 26th floor, and he says, one of the biggest disconnect is we got to get this unemployment down. And he says, I'm going to get it down. And this is actually what he said in 2015. And also to create generational wealth, small business, black business owners like myself. That is something he really wants to go in the heart, because there's a disconnect, especially in black communities, owning retail commodities.
Let's bring Richard into the conversation as well to hear what is clearly going to be another side here. When it comes to the issue of unemployment and what the president claims he has done for the African-American community, how does that ring through for you?
Well, the president is sort of like a person who shows up for Thanksgiving dinner. He didn't buy the turkey, he didn't hire the cook, he didn't buy the fixing, he didn't buy the house, and he claims credit for it. Those unemployment numbers were going down under the Obama administration, but they still remain higher for blacks. 7.5% is the rate, black unemployment rate, and it doesn't even compute the black underemployment rate. So that's just boasting of a person who didn't have anything to do with the effects of it. He just happened to be sitting in the chair.
Let's listen to the president, if we could, from just last Sunday, what he was saying about this campaign to try to connect with black voters.
And I did criminal justice reform. Nobody else. I did it. Without me, you don't have criminal justice reform. And that was for the African Americans more than anybody else. So I think my standing in the African American community is maybe the best.
He says it's maybe the best, Richard. What is his standing in the black community as you see it?
Well, we take the words of some of the Republicans, as Andrew Gillum said when he was running for governor of Florida. It is the racists who called this president a racist. It is Lindsey Graham who said he was racist, xenophobic, and a religious bigot. And we can't disagree with that. The policies of this administration, including not enforcing consent decrees, not enforcing consent orders that were voluntary as it relates to police brutality all over this country. His administration has rolling back the gains that we made under the Obama administration. And for us, it's not Democrat or Republican. Racism in America has been bipartisan, and the NAACP has been fighting against that no matter who was in office, and we will continue to do that. We speak out on policies. I've known numerous black Republicans, but they don't ascribe to this kind of racism.
Bruce, let me ask you real quick here. On this question, the president does have some things which he can point to legitimately to the African-American community. But then there is the personality side of this president. And I believe this is actually what you were sort of alluding to, Richard. He has been criticizing the squad for women of color. He went after Elijah Cummings of Maryland. In Charlottesville, where a woman was killed and a white supremacist did the killing, he says the violence is on many sides. And he goes on to use an expletive to describe the entire continent of Africa. So isn't it clear why many people may doubt this outreach?
Well, Martin, I have to respectfully disagree. And just to give you the numbers on the unemployment, it's 5.4, and it's going to get better. Well, no, sir, it's 5.4. But Martin, at the end of the day, the president is a counterpuncher.
I think we have the actual unemployment numbers. We can show you how they break down under the Obama administration. And so you can see that, yeah, it's 5.4, and that but the most significant decrease came under the Obama administration.
Well, look, at the end of the day, the president gets the credit, good or bad, no matter if you're in office. Let's just respect the fact that we're doing much better now for all Americans. And there's one thing about it, Martin, and I just have to keep putting this in perspective. Most of the African-American communities, which we know, we've had conversations with the president, it is essential and vital to us build black generational wealth back into all these communities. Opportunity Zones is a magnificent tool. It's one of the best tools that we have. We can get better, yes. But when you go to an African-American community, ask yourself, who owns the grocery store? Who owns the gas station? Who owns? I'm one of the largest black jewelry store owners in the country. I'm African American. The dream come true. So well, wait a second, sir. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you, sir.
We only have a second left.
So this is about business. This is about restoring and putting back black wealth to grow. It's a win-win for everyone.
But you have to resonate with people in order really to make that happen.
And the numbers don't lie, Christy.
Well, but here are the numbers. The president in August of 2016 said at the end of 4 years, I guarantee you I'll get over 95% of the African-American vote. In the latest Quinnipiac poll, it shows he has a 10% approval of the job he's doing from African Americans, and 80% of black voters believe that he's racist.
Is that the same poll that they said Hillary would win? Come on, guys. Polls really?
I understand that.
No one really likes to give up.
80% of black voters believe that he is a racist.
No,
is there anything
that's
that this president can do?
That's an unfair statement. That is unfair.
It's in the poll.
The man has been out. The man has been out there for 40+ years, Christy, and all of a sudden he announces for president, and all of a sudden,
well, it's not.
Now he's a racist.
Listen, we've got to let Richard have a voice here.
He was a racist before he announced for president.
That's not true.
He called for execution of the Central Park Five, who were found to be innocent, and he still has not apologized for that. His policies as a real estate broker were racist.
By a bad prosecutor.
Would an apology